Welcome back, my friends. Are you planning to do a Euro trip this summer? Can be a good idea to watch this video because I do a hostel tours in each country I visit, or at least I slept in. So we first are in Budapest, and my budget for each night is around 25 US dollars. So yeah, so join me and see what you get for 25 US dollars in Hungary, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Yeah, so yeah, you get. This was the most expensive one, I think. No, one in Estonia as well, in Tallinn, was quite expensive. But that you will see later on in the video. After a few days at Wombat, I wanted to try another hostel. This one was only 15 US dollars, so half the price from Wombat. This was more a apartment feeling hostel. Yeah, but both of these hostels is super good location in the middle of the busy street of Budapest. So it's really depending what you want to do. I think if you want to party, I will stay in Wombat because I was more at the party street of Budapest, and this was just a few minutes away from the party street, but more quiet and not really much happening in this hostel. But I don't know if I prefer this one or the other one. This one, I really don't like the toilets in this one because there's always floating when you're taking a shower. So, but otherwise, yeah, maybe Wombat was a little bit better. This is my first time in Lithuania, and I will show you a hostel night in Lithuania. Yeah, so I will not recommend you to stay in this hostel. No, 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 but here is the night. We are now in the capital of Lithuania, and this hostel was quite nice, nicer than the other one. But yeah, so they have a kitchen and everything here, and it's a good location in the middle of the old town of Vilnius. So I highly recommend you to stay here if you are in Vilnius and are on a budget. Quite expensive, 24 US dollars. Yeah. Ja, god morgon, god morgon. Bye bye. We have now moved on to our next country on this Euro trip, to Latvia, and we are in Riga, and this is the entrance to my hostel. Yeah, we are entering through McDonald's, quite fun. But this was a good hostel, I can say. I can really recommend to stay here if you are on a budget and want to meet new people. It was super easy to find new friends here. And of course, it cost 25 US dollars, but there was a good breakfast buffet every morning. So I highly recommend you to stay here if you are in Riga. And around in this apartment building, was, I think, was 4 or 5 other hostels. So this was a place to be if you want to meet other travelers. And the age group is, of course, from 20 to 40 maybe. I did not see any older people really, but yeah, but I think there was no like age you can say if you're a little bit older, but yeah, mostly are people around 20 to 35 maybe. Yeah, but this was a really good one. I met some new friends from US, India. Yeah, it was quite cool. So I highly recommend to stay here if you're in Riga. They have events every night as well. So they are really gathering people in this hostel and try to be a social hostel, not like a party hostel, more like a social hostel. You go out and meet new people. I like it. I moved on to another small place in Latvia, and here is a hostel. Cēsis in Latvia. Yeah, this was the vibe here was non-existent, uh, but was quite nice. Was also quite affordable. And what you can do in Cēsis is like hiking. They have also an old castle, so that is the reason I go here. It's a very nice castle. Maybe I will show it in future videos, or if you want, go back in time. I have it in Swedish actually, if you want to see my older videos. And yeah, but this was quite nice, quite affordable, 16 US dollars in Eastern Europe, in Latvia. Yeah, I can highly recommend it to stay here if for just one night. I think I stayed there for 2 nights and was like, okay, I think one night is enough. But because that I did some hikes as well, but yeah, I don't know. I'm from Sweden, so it was the same nature as in Sweden, so it was not like wow. But yeah, you can do some hikes here, the castle, of course. But now we are in Pärnu. Yeah, Pärnu, Estonia. So I only stayed here because I wanted to experience some haunted houses. Yeah, this is an old hospital. You really have the vibe of Terror på Elm Street or something. Yeah, this is an old hospital from the Soviet Union. So you really, yeah, can be quite scary to stay here. You see here the dorm beds. It's an old hospital room. Yeah, the vibe here, yeah, was okay. It was okay. It was okay. I cannot say that this was my favorite hostel, but at least was they have character at this hostel. I like the when hostels have characters. Yeah, but if you are in Pärnu, I highly recommend that you to stay here. Otherwise, you can stay in more luxury places in Pärnu. We are now in Tallinn, and we stay in the capsule hostel. 35 US dollars. So this is one of the most expensive hostels I stayed in during my trip through Eastern Europe. But it's a good place if you are tired of hostel, dorm beds, and you don't want to pay for a hotel. So you pay for a little bit extra and you get it capsule. The only thing I did not like about this one was quite far from the center of Tallinn. Otherwise,
Här har vi
Lite härlig belysning. But they have everything in this hostel, so that's quite nice, and you don't really need to interact with the people if you're introvert. So you check in online and you get your receipt, you pay everything online, and you don't really need to talk to people when you're staying in hostels like this. But they have a kitchen, and it was quite clean. Everything was clean here, almost sterilized. But now we are moving on to our next hostel in Tallinn. Yeah. If I will pick one of these three hostels, I will pick this one. I really like this one. Maybe because I met some really good people here, and yeah, everything was more nicer here. It was also smaller than the Margaret hostel, and not as sterilized as the capsule hostel. And this hostel was in the old center of the old town of Tallinn. So yeah, I really like this one. So if you're staying somewhere in Tallinn and want to go on a budget, I highly recommend you to stay in this one. The only thing, maybe the dorms is quite small. The dorms, yeah, that's the only thing I can complain about. But if you're traveling with other people, maybe Margaret can be nicer. But there were no really vibe at Margaret. But they have sauna at Margaret, so that was nice. But this is the end of the video. And in the next video, I don't really know what we are doing. We are doing something in Sweden. But make friends when you're traveling is the best thing. But ciao, see you in the next one.